Daniel Pingator. Blanco Aquino. Gary W. Frade. James C. Reichel. Donald Murphy. Frank Fabiano Jr. Drew Boulier. Jacob Coyle. We also honor and remember 3 Wisconsin officers who died in the line of duty since last year's Law Memorial Service. Officer Charles Irvine Jr., Milwaukee Police Department. Officer Michael Mahalski, Milwaukee Police Department. Officer Matthew Rittner, Milwaukee Police Department. Finally, we lay a wreath in honor of the service and sacrifice of the 158 law enforcement officers who lost their lives nationwide in 2018, and 39 officers who have lost their lives in the first 4 months of 2019.
I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. It's actually a very nice crowd. It's nice to see this many people up here. This year marks the 100th anniversary of the first law enforcement officer that was killed in the line of duty in Kenosha and Kenosha County. And to commemorate that, we made a resolution to rename 2nd Avenue in front of the Law Enforcement Memorial for the Public Safety Monument to Antonio Pingatore Way. And I would like to read that resolution to you. Whereas Antonio Pingatore was born in Padovigliano, Provincia di Cosenza in Calabria, Italy on September 12, 1884. Whereas Antonio Pingatore arrived in the United States on August 4, 1899 through the Port of New York. And whereas Antonio Pingatore married Concetta Faraca in 1906 in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Whereas Antonio Pingatore made his way to Kenosha, Wisconsin, where on October 13, 1913, he became a United States citizen. And whereas Antonio Pingatore served with the City of Kenosha Police Department for 5 years until the end of watch on Monday, March 31st, 1919. Whereas Antonio Pingatore lived at 213 Howland Avenue, which would now be known as 5614 22nd Avenue. Whereas on March 31st, 1919, Antonio Pingatore was shot and killed while he was attempting to arrest 3 men after they had robbed the American Brass Bolt Company of $50,000 in cash and bonds, making their getaway. Whereas Antonio Pingatore was 35 years of age at the time of his death, leaving a wife and 8 grandchildren to grieve his passing. And whereas Antonio Pingatore was the first Kenosha Police Department officer killed in the line of duty. Whereas Antonio Pingatore is buried at the historic Green Ridge Cemetery with his wife. Whereas by naming this stretch of road with Antonio Pingatore's name, the Common Council for the City of Kenosha intends to honor all fallen first responders who have lost their lives in the service of the community, specifically including Kenosha police officers Antonio Pingatore, Gary W. Frade, Donald Murphy, and Drew Bouye, sheriff's deputies Jacob Coyle, Blanco Aquino, James C. Reichel, and Frank Fabiano Jr., and firefighters Martin Keckler, Leslie Hamilton, Raphael Pfeiffer, Donald DeAngelis, Paul Dangenbach, and Scott Schumacher. Whereas the petition for the subnaming of the street was filed with the city clerk, the Common Council for the City of Kenosha, that 2nd Avenue from 54th Street to 56th Street be subnamed as Antonio Pingatore Way in honor of Antonio Pingatore and all the first responders who have lost their lives to the city, to their service to the community. I'd like to present you with Antonio Pingatore Way. Brought the sign in here so we could actually display it. They'll actually be getting posted up later in the week.